from Scotland.
My name's Denis.
And my name's Matt.
And this is
The final episode.
In part 3, we discovered some of the dreams of the folk of the treeless land of Orkney. Join us now as we return to the mainland.
I've seen so much of Scotland through the jobs that I've been involved in the environment, and I've been to some of the most remote parts, and I've stood on sandy white beaches that have made me think about the Caribbean.
So you're saying that Scotland's more interesting than the Antarctic and the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Good God, man.
It is. For all, I can understand why people want independence, but I don't believe that what they're selling is possible. I don't believe we can do that now.
What they're selling? What do you mean?
That all this oil and all the money in the North Sea, all the oil that's going to fund Scotland. I don't believe it. They'll never get it. I don't believe politicians, as far as I can throw them. I think if Scotland and England went their separate ways, a lot of industry would pull out of Scotland. People are already... there are companies in Scotland that are already setting up offices in England in case of independence.
Right.
Purely because it would be a nightmare. The north of England is just as isolated from London as Scotland.
Yeah.
So does the north of England need to think about independence? My dream Scotland is more thought of the community, more provision for the local community through, food and energy, and more sharing of responsibility. The welfare state sucks the responsibility out of you.
Exactly.
You don't have any responsibility because you don't have to earn any money because you're being given it for free. If you took a little bit more money out of the welfare and put it into education, gave people a motivation to do something, then
Start,
they talk about, they're saying there are people in estates, in some of the roughest estates in all of the various cities around Scotland, around England, that could be the next Dyson developing, stuff. They could be the next Bill Gates, but they'll never realise their potential because their brain is not being put on the right. It's not being put on the right in the right gear. Many immigrants are filling jobs. You can't deny that. But the reason they're filling the jobs is not because they're Eastern European, but because they have a motivation to do the jobs.
Yeah.
Because they've come over here, because they've made the commitment, but they do a good job, and they're getting used in many ways. If there were people in the local population who were as motivated, then maybe you could pay them better. Now, there's no respect.
Yep. So you think that
so that lack of respect, which in many ways is responsibility, is easier to abuse on Twitter and Facebook because you have no face. There's nothing wrong with Facebook. It's the people. The people are the issue. This is the issue. It's the education. It's the realization, the awareness of self. I got to travel down the west coast of America, and I got to see, how you had the native Indians had been ousted, had been pushed out by the white man, who came in and said, "You're no longer allowed to believe in your false idols. You have to believe in one." And they were, it was just wrong. But what the Indians had was a respect for nature.
After offering us a lift from inside the ferry, Our driver took us all the way to Hootenanny's pub in Inverness.
In the morning, feeling a little bit worse for wear, we went for a stroll to find out some of the dreams of Invernessians.
I remember it was all sort of little cell phone shops, no supermarkets, and there could be a dozen grocers, but your mother went to this particular grocer, a dozen fishmongers would go to that particular fishmongers. They went to the shops, you know. In here at one time there was 7 fishmongers, 5 greengrocers and 7 butchers.
I walked over from Ireland about 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, born in Glasgow, raised in England, Israel and Ireland. Yes. Home, this is where home is. I used to run away as a kid to get here, to get to Glasgow.
Right.
8 times I sent me back, in shackles.
What we're doing is we're trying to get some ideas, like as many people as possible, what their dream Scotland might look like if it looked any different than it already is.
Independent fucking Scotland.
That's a good start.
Like 100% all the way. You know, the fucking government ripping this country apart. See the Irish, you know what they did? They got on a townhouse, they read out their independence, closed the doors, and they shot them, they tied them to chairs and everything. Immediately, you know, but people are too fucking stereotyped to watch it. Standards, you know, I haven't got a brain, or, well, we can't go alone, you know, and you see the media machine work and the papers that are in Westminster's pocket going, no, go for it.
Yeah.
Fucking 100%, we don't need them.
What has independence been for you, Dale?
It means the people of Scotland, all the beautiful people of Scotland, you know, all the different colours, all of us just taking control.
Yeah.
Not getting ripped off by that machine down there. Like, you know. I just think we could have a better say in the world and have a bit of clout. Because people love the Scots, they do.
Yeah,
they do, you know it. They do. I was running down Israel and not much for that. The minute you tell them where you're from, come here, and various other places, Greece.
Anywhere in the world,
yeah, we've got a passion for making things right and doing things. We're good at fighting as well. We could do it if you get that national pride thing going. Not racism. You get that going, you get people building stuff and making stuff. It's all there. Resources, get our resources back. Get the industry going again, like, you know, because they've sold it. If you look, even over your lifetimes, how they privatised everything. Yeah. What are we paying for electric now? I mean, what's the next thing they want to get their hands on is the land. It's the Highlands, biggest wilderness in Europe. 100% right. 80% of it's owned by absentee landowners. You know,
right, yeah.
That have bought it and turned it into a wet desert. They put economic forestry on it, or sheep, like, you know, or fucking shooting estates. Like, you know, we need to get that back. That's ours.
Right.
If you read what happened after Culloden, how they came through here and genocided and smashed the whole land apart, smashed the crime, couldn't wear tartan, couldn't speak Gaelic, like, you know, and it's awful, like, and it's never recovered. Like, I'd like to be organising more events because we're a passionate bunch about good causes, and I mean, I think it was 20 years ago during the Somalian famine. I've got this info through, and I couldn't believe it. Every day, 35,000 children die from preventable disease, malnutrition, lack of medicine, lack of health training. You know, all that's preventable. You know, 35,000 a day. You know, it's just fucking nuts, and that's mostly due to these governments. We'd have our own government. We'd have a say in things. There'd be more sharing of the land to the people. You know, I mean, there's a lot of Glaswegians that herald from up here.
Aye.
So come back.
Say, oh, Highlanders, man.
Come home. Yeah.
It's just basically a nice socialist Scotland
Yay!
where people take care of each other, spend the time to talk. No matter what age you are, what nationality you are, you know, it's like nice to see people. I'm going to vote carefully. I'm going to vote for independence, but I don't know exactly who. You know, for the Yes Scotland, I'll certainly vote, but I would like to see who's going to be in power and what their economic strategy is. I don't want the IMF. I don't want us to borrow money from them. I would like to see us independent properly. True independence is just not having capitalism, having money localised, and having, you know, not borrowing from outside, not having people taking over everything, brutalising our country, raping them. Actually, I don't want it to happen to us.
But at the end of the day, it's down to think the Scottish government, man, they're so gun-ho about going on their own. We're never making it our own, guys. Never.
No.
Nah. I'd love to be in free Scotland,
Right.
but it's not going to happen. If it does happen, we're going to end in fucking tears.
Right.
And there'll be another Culloden.
Another what? Culloden. Yeah.
You know. End of.
Thanks very much, man. Cheers, pal.
Thanks a lot, mate.
I think I'm going to vote against independence.
Why's that?
I don't know, I just think it's better together. Like, it doesn't really seem like Alex Salmon knows what he's really wanting.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of wanting independence, but I'm not sure how it'd work out.
Okay.
But if there's some sort of security that would work out for Scotland, then I would definitely vote for Scotland independence.
There are no difference. There is no difference between color. There is no difference between religion. There is no difference between poor and rich.
Yeah.
But it is all one. What did you learn on this earth? What did you learn in this life?
Yeah.
If you have millions of pounds and you only keep it for yourself, you didn't learn anything at all. To be rich is quite nice, but share it at least with people who have nothing.
Yeah.
If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world.
So Dennis, everyone always calls you a smelly hippie. How does it feel to be clean? Covered in soap.
I feel invaded.
There's nothing to it.
That evening, we set off on the Great Glen Way and began to digest everything that we'd seen and heard on our journey so far. We reached Fort William 5 days later and hitched home to Glasgow.
I always used to think of this backyard that we'd never visited as this sort of wild landscape of, like, you know, just roaring hills and nobody living there, and, you know, it's just like left up to whatever grows there. And like, yeah, I can see, I've sort of realised more recently, and I can see for myself now that that's not the case. It's a very, very managed landscape, and there's hardly any indigenous woodlands left in Scotland. It's almost everything we've walked through has been, you know, big pine plantations. I think the pine supposedly comes from Scandinavia, so it's not, you know, it's not local trees to here. If we are self-sustainable in my dream Scotland, we don't need to be, you know, economically thinking about what oil are we going to sell or what are our resources or this. We'll be producing everything we need here. Your community has its wind farm, and your community uses electricity. Your community has its farms, and your community eats that food. It's got to be practical. It's got to be stuff that affects people's lives in their day-to-day lives now. Yeah. We can't just go, right, let's, you know, give up everything now because, you know, in 50 years' time Scotland will be a great place. For our children's children, it'll be amazing. As long as we just, you know, work hard, give up all our luxuries, whatever. People aren't going to buy that. So it needs to be steps that improve people's lives now, yeah, as well as in the future. Yeah. At any time of the day and night, most people, even somebody on the dole, can go down to the shop and buy, you know, the pound of sugar that they need or whatever it is. Yeah. And because of that, we don't rely on each other. That needing each other doesn't need to be because of scarcity or, you know, we can do this in other ways, through cooperation, through cooperative ventures, by doing something together, any kind of productive work together. Yeah. That's already, like, we know each other. We are like linked in that way. Uh-huh. We can relate to the world through cultural exchange, through labour exchange. Absolutely. Like, I don't have any problem with Scots travelling the world and going to make their life in other parts of the world, or with people from all across the world coming here. And there's no reason why we can't be part of this global village.
For me, the reason why I first kind of wanted to do the documentary as well was a feeling of that something big was happening. Do you know what I mean? Something big is coming up. It's happening on our doorstep. I want to be a part of it, but I don't want to be sucked into, you know, any tribal politics, any propaganda, standing at the street with a soapbox and trying to tell people what I think or what other people should think.
But what's really interesting is, what do we think? What are we aiming at? What kind of differences do we have? But more importantly, sometimes, what similarities do we have across the board? With that mindset in hand, it'll help us to get through whatever lies ahead, because we'll be coming at it from a collaborative point of view rather than a competitive point of view, rather than a tribal point of view, you know. And so that's what I liked about the people we talked to as well. Yes, they were so optimistic about the vision for the future, but also intertwined in every single person's Dream Scotland was a sense of realism, a sense of the challenges that lays ahead. The core of my Dream Scotland, I guess, is the same as so many of the people we've met on our journey. It's at the core of my Dream Scotland is a greater sense of community, coming back to where our heart lies, which is independence, but not independence that we talk about in the media, not just political independence or economic independence or SNP independence or Scottish independence. I'm talking about independence on a more fundamental level, independence of the self and of the community. And that's a different independence that I think we need to talk about more. So that's open society. So it's not a closed society where it's based on colour, creed, nationality or anything like that. It's a society that is open to anybody. If you really want to discover something more about yourself and discover more about the community that you're talking about, you need to get out of your comfort zone. So that's why Dream Scotland didn't happen in our living room. Do you know what I mean? It didn't happen in front of a computer screen, bedroom politics. You know what I mean? It wasn't about that. Instead, it was about us getting out of our comfort zone and literally as far away from our comfort zone as we possibly could within the borders of Scotland. Finding ourselves at the age of no money, no experience of filming, no experience of doing any of this, yet just going, do you know what? Fuck it, it can happen.
I think whatever happens in September, it's going to be, it's only going to be the start. I think the work begins on September the 19th, when we've got to work out what country we want to live in.
But then that's interesting because there is a nation at conversation right now. There is an entire nation of people, not just a nation, a world in conversation with itself right now about what does it mean to be independent. Is political independence, is that true independence? It's happening across the board. It's happening, like we've seen in curiosity shops, in museums, in cars, in boats, in pubs across the country and across the world. And that's amazing, man. No matter what happens in the 18th, that's amazing, man. There's people actually, for the first time I'd say in decades, really actually involved in having an opinion and having a motivation about their country and their community at large.
Great, man. Freedom. We talk about freedom, independence. It's all in this world. It's all about money, man. That kind of independence, this political independence, is we are now ruled by Holyrood, a Scottish government rather than a British government. It's not. Yeah. It's absolutely not. It's just the same cunts that are in power, and that's part of it was Gandhi's idea as well. When he was talking about independence for India, a lot of the basis of what he was fighting for was what he called village Swaraj. Swaraj would be independence, but in the sense of self-reliance.
And I look at it, man, it's fucking gorgeous! I've been out in the middle of nowhere, I was surrounded by beautiful people, I've been taken into everyone's home, everyone's hearts. That just took a little leap of faith, you know what I mean? It took us to kind of go, right, go on, let's just go on an adventure, man. Whereas, maybe the vast majority of people, that's all you need to do, man. They need to just realise that we can all go on an adventure, man, no matter who you are, what level of society, what level of finance you're at.
Yeah, anyone can do it.
So that was Dream Scotland. We hope you enjoyed it.
And maybe it's helped you clarify a little bit more about your own dream Scotland and what that might look like.
We'll be going around Glasgow the next couple of months, asking more of the same questions, trying to find out more of people's dreams.
But in the meantime, if you have been really inspired by our daft adventures, maybe it's time for you to get on your own adventure. So, you know, go grab a camera, get out there, find your own dream Scotland, you know?
That's all from us. Good night.
Good night.